second best in a lot of the 50-50 collisions, but Damien Dunleavy settled them with this good effort. Limerick continued to dominate and Ryan made it 6 points to 1 after 20 minutes as they pressed home their advantage. Even goalkeeper Brian Scanlon got in on the scoring act when he made no mistake with this free from distance. Former London player Killian Fair also helped turn the screw as Limerick opened up a 7 points lead approaching half-time. The introduction of Mark Gotcha was a key factor in London getting into the game, and the Galway man, who has been battling injury, scored a fine point shortly after coming on. And London goalkeeper Adrian Faherty also showed his ability with long-range frees, which cut the Limerick advantage to 5 points at the interval. London enjoyed their best spell of the game just after half-time, hitting 3 points in succession, with Dunleavy the key figure as he landed 2 excellent scores. The Exiles hit the front for the first time when Dunleavy, who finished with 1 5-point play, met a sideline from Gotcha to strike for the first goal of the game. Owen O'Neill put London 2 points ahead, but Limerick refused to panic, and they went back in front when Garage Hegarty showed great confidence to finish off a fine passing movement with this low shot to the net. London responded with points to level the game 5 minutes from the end, but Limerick finished strongly with goalkeeper Scanlon edging them back in front with this free, before Ryan sealed the issue with a couple of more points to bring his haul to 8 points. It finished Limerick 116, London 113.
A close battle will always help you, in that you have to work very hard all the way through it, and you see a lot about players when it comes close. So it's a great win in terms of some of the younger lads in our squad. What people must realise is that there's a lot of Limerick underage players who never win a championship game, and we had 6 or 7 fellas out there today who won their first time ever with Limerick in a championship scenario. So in that instance, that's a great learning curve for them, and hopefully they'll build on that now after that.
We're fiercely disappointed, but we're very proud. We never gave in, and I suppose after the Galway game we wanted to show that we were better than that and we had more heart, and Limerick got a great start and really came at us, and most of the second half belonged to us.
It was a glorious summer's night in Auckram as Wicklow and Offaly entered battle with championship survival at stake. The ground staff had the pitch in magnificent condition and the home side signalled their intent right from the off, cornerback Aaron Murphy opening the scoring after just 25 seconds. Offaly, who lost to Longford in the Leinster Championship, were heavily reliant on Niall McNamee for scores, the road clubman with the first of his points 9 minutes in. Leighton Glynn was a late addition to the Wicklow starting 15 and he was proving a real handful for Niall Darby. His goal shot here came flying back out, but Shawnee Furlong was on hand to finish, Wicklow leading 1-4 to 3 points after 15 minutes. The Offaly forwards were being starved of quality ball, Anton Sullivan setting up clubmate Niall McNamee, who continued to make the best use of what came his way. Dean Healy was settling well into the game, but his involvement was cut short after half an hour as he was black carded for this tackle on Anton Sullivan. Wicklow deployed an extra player in defence with Podge McWalter sitting in front of their full back line. At the other end, Leighton Glynn continued to work his magic. This one of his 4 points, and the Garden County were in front at half-time by 1-8 to 9 points. 5 minutes after the restart, Harry Murphy's team struck for a significant goal. Leighton Glynn the provider and Shawnee Furlong leaping high to prod home his second goal. It put Wicklow 6 points up and gave them vital breathing space to dictate the remainder of the game. Substitute John McGrath caught the eye when introduced. Having recovered from leukemia, the man from Baltinglass appreciated moments like this more than most. Offaly were left chasing the game. Midfielder Johnny Maloney with an excellent individual point here, but at no stage did the faithful county look capable of turning things around. And Wicklow copper-fastened their progress to the next round with goal number 3 close to the end. Darren Hayden, the scorer, taking the return pass and slotting past Alan Mulhall as the Garden County closed out a deserved victory. Emmett MacDonald stood down as Offaly manager after the game. Wicklow winners by 312 to 17 points.
Look, it worked out in the end. It's great to get a win. I mean, this time last year we were after getting spanked up in our mass, so it's a hugely different feeling now today, you know.
Yeah, look, very disappointed. I think, you know, we had 17 points versus 12 points, you know, which showed, you know, we got a lot of good scores on the board, but it's just unfortunate at the back we conceded goals and we made a couple of errors that cost us at vital times in the game.
The league tells us Longford are a Division 4 team, but this All-Ireland qualifier told us something very different. Things didn't start all that promisingly for the visitors. Derry were 3 points up after 5 minutes, with 18-year-old Terence O'Brien making his championship debut, one of the few Derry forwards to emerge with real credit from this game. But when Longford deployed a two-man full forward line of Brian Kavanagh and Paul Barden, Derry were in all sorts of trouble. Barden, now into his 16th championship season with Longford, had a huge game. He had 3 good goal chances in the first half, 2 of them were saved. But not the third. Barden's goal helped Longford establish real control. Derry would try 4 different markers on him over the course of the 70 minutes. Leading by 1-6 to 7 points at half-time, Longford restarted with some inspirational play and scores, with Mickey Quinn very prominent. His influence grew as the match wore on. Derry were 5 points adrift and needed an injection of something. It came from the approach play of Sean Liam McGoldrick and Enda Lynn, and from the boot of Benny Heron. And when a few minutes later, Derry captain Mark Lynch, who had already contributed 4 points, followed that up with another pile driver to the net, it looked like Derry might escape to victory. But Longford had other ideas. They sent on another talented forward, Mark Hughes, and his finish illustrated the composure his team had shown all evening. Trailing by 2 points in added time, Derry hunted frantically for a response, but Longford held firm to win by 216 to 214.
We put in a huge amount of work to try and turn things around, and you know, we practiced a lot of that stuff, but the score taking that we produced today was out of the top drawer. But you're doing that all the time anyway, and some days it comes right for you, other days it didn't, and you know, against Wexford it didn't come right for us today, but it did today, and it was huge. You know, the calibre of footballer that's in Longford, that's the reason I put my name into the hat for the position in the first place, because I knew obviously Paul Barden, Brian Kavanagh, Shane Mulligan, Enda Williams, all those guys, and I knew what they had. It's taken us a while to believe that we can deliver a performance like that, but I was always aware that we had that level of ability.
We'd have liked to have got a run in these qualifiers just to bring the team on, you know, and didn't happen on the day, you know. And to be fair, like, Longford played more like a Division 1 side than we did today.
Yeah, Brian McIver is generous to Longford there, Kevin, but for Derry, we'll talk about Longford in a moment. That's hugely disappointing for Derry.
That's a big setback. You know, we were talking about it a few programmes ago in terms of having a really good qualifier run. You know, I would have said even quarterfinals. That's certainly round 4, and to be taken out in the first round of it by Longford, a very deserving win for it. But when we spoke on Friday on the radio, we were talking about the amount of injuries Derry had. Like, not to take away from Longford, just set that to one side. It was a super win. But they had a brand new midfield. They had about 7 or 8 injuries going into the game, so quite 1 or 2 headed for stateside. So that wasn't a good kind of a lead-in to it for them. So they were always prone to getting caught, and fair play to Longford. Yeah. They were revved up to take them out.
Because we mustn't take from Longford's victory in any way. It's a fantastic victory, given they were relegated.
Well, fantastic. First of all, you know, doing it up in Derry, which is quite hard to do. When to go up to Derry and win is difficult. But you know, in fairness, you could see it there at the end of the game what it meant to the players. Jack Sheedy himself was running around there. The lads were hugging him. You know, this is a big performance, especially, as you said, after getting relegated from Division 3 into Division 4, and now getting a qualifier win against Derry up in Derry. So you know, it's very positive, and they will look forward to whoever they draw in the next round.
And